right? Because in the world of like creativity and stuff like that, like nothing is truly really original. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody gets inspiration from something else. I know that the right people are telling the stories in a sense, because like you're always gonna have haters. That's not necessarily always the point. It's like when it comes to like entertainment, when it comes to, you know, creating a compelling story, it's like you have to kind of embellish or perform, you know, in a sense. And yes, everything might not be super duper accurate, but if it was that way, then the show will be boring. I don't know, bruh. I feel like every week is like a new opportunity, but at the same time, it's something about like Monday where it feels like a reset, and it kind of feels like it can dictate your week and how it goes, in a negative and positive way. But when it's like a negative, like it's really hard to get up out of it. But like when it's something positive, it's like, yo, you can go to that next level. So it's about like kind of trying to, you know, have as many good starts to the week as possible, even though, you know, some days you can't control what happens and some things you can't, you know. But that's besides the point, bro. I'm excited for this episode because I feel like, I don't know, this is going to be a good one. It's a lot to talk about. Like I said, the year has officially really started, as far as drops and as far as like, you know, shows coming back. But I want to get straight into it, man. So welcome back to the Why I'm Geeked show, man. This is episode 51. Episode 51, 1 week away from a year. You know, I don't know the exact day that this whole thing started, because I think we got an extra episode like for the intro that's not counting, you know, in the official counter or whatever. So it might already be 52. I don't know. But 52 weeks, 52 episodes that's coming up next. But this episode is gonna be special in its own right. I think every episode is special in general, but you know, I'm excited nonetheless. So like I said, welcome back to the Why I'm Geeked show. It's your boy G, you know what I'm saying? And I don't really got that much else to talk about in the little intro section, because I just kind of want to get to it, bro. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the news. All right, y'all. So this is something that was kind of like, I'm kind of late to, right? But it's something that I knew about, but I had wrote it down, but I forgot to talk about it. So the first thing that I wanted to bring to y'all attention, that if y'all not hip, y'all should be hip to, is Black Sands. So Black Sands is like a I don't want to get it wrong, right? But basically it is like a studio, and it's a host of, you know, black comics and entertainment, and they basically went on Shark Tank like last week, right? And they was actually on Shark Tank, and I believe it was Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart who actually invested in them. So basically they got like $500K out of Shark Tank to, you know, basically invest into their company and start developing these animated shows with like all of their, you know what I'm saying, black content from their website and like all the new stuff that's going on right now. So I don't know if y'all are super into comics. I'm not a comic head, but I've seen Black Sands like for the longest time. Like I think the first time I seen it initially was on Tumblr, and then I went through and I looked at some of the comics and stuff like that. But I'm not like just a huge comic book head, but I love and appreciate what they do. And then also like they had like a short animated series that came out a few years back where it was like animated, but it was kind of like voiceover. I don't know how to explain it. You just had to see it. But it's super dope to see that, you know, not only got this investment, but now they got partners like Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart, and they got put on national TV, you know. So even if say, you know, Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart don't necessarily like be super involved, they already got that exposure. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's crazy. It's so super dope, and I hope that you know what I'm saying that joint goes crazy. Because at one point in time, I did want to make an anime. You know, like I did want to, or maybe not an anime, but like a comic book. Like I did have, like I used to do art. I used to do a whole bunch of stuff back in the day. You know, but it's a lot of work, bruh. I ain't gonna cap. Like it's a lot to it. So I definitely respect them and shout out to them for you know continuing and prospering, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Because it kind of ties into you know the title for today's episode, which is Originality, because like nobody else is really like doing stuff like this, like for like at this level. You know what I'm saying? Like something that's for us by us. Like we say that all the time, right? But you know they could have probably worked in the regular comic book industry where they was working for like Marvel or DC or something like that. They could have sold those stories to them or whatever, because I'm sure they've had offers prior to this to not only you know invest in Black Sands but also probably take it over and you know do whatever. I don't know, I'm not in a business like that, but like I'm assuming like you know like this ain't their first rodeo based on what they've been doing, right? So I'm just super geeked about that because this is like, you know, original, you know, original content, you know what I'm saying? And it's like stories that it's not just the I forgot the actual name of it, but it's not just that, but it's also they're putting on other artists and other writers to, you know, create what you know we need. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always you can always use more. You know, so I think that's super dope. The next thing I want to talk about in the news is Black Panther. So Black Panther seems to be back on track with Letitia Wright coming back into the fold because she's healed from her injuries and things like that. So hopefully, you know, maybe late this year we might get a Black Panther. It might be pushed to next year. I don't know, depending on like the editing process and things like that. And then you also got to market it. So hopefully this puts things back in order. Now, I don't know. I still seeing like I know they said that they're not going to recast T'Challa, but like people are still fighting for it. You know what I'm saying? I respect it. I still want to see T'Challa in the MCU. Now, they can always change their mind. So I feel like even though they said that they're not, it's still an important thing to push. You know, because even though it might not fit and fold into the story that is being told right now, maybe, you know, down the line, you know what I'm saying, something might happen. Because, you know, we'll just really have to see when the movie comes out how they, you know, go about the situation. Like, what do they say? What do they do as far as like molding this new story where Letitia is now Black Panther into what happened to T'Challa, you know what I'm saying, or Chadwick Boseman's character. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But you know, I'm happy to see that they're back in production because we just still need the movie at the end of the day. And then the next thing that I wanted to say was I was right. And it's not like a crazy thing to be right about, but they did confirm that. I seen that they confirmed that in Spideyverse, across the Spideyverse, I say Spideyverse, but it's Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse, they are going to have different art styles for every universe. So, like, what I thought was true based off the first movie and then what we seen in the trailer, because things looked a little like three-dimensional, but also they look different than what we saw normally. So it looks like we only done seen really like 2 styles so far. Hopefully we get like 3 or 4. I'm looking for 4, you know, like the original one, the one we saw in the trailer, and like 2 more. So like maybe like Spider-Gwen's universe, what she looks like there, or even I don't know, Spider-Man Noir, I don't know, something like that. I think that'd be cool. But you know, I like that approach to it. It's not something that's, you know, super crazy because we've seen that before, but it only makes sense to do that, especially in animated series or movie you know. But that's pretty much it for the news for this week. Let's get into the weekly recap. All right, y'all. So first things first, we got to talk about today's cover art, man. Abbott Elementary or Quinta Brunson. Abbott Elementary is all the like went crazy last week. You know, it was trending like every single day. And if you don't know what Abbott Elementary is, it's basically a sitcom covering the public school system in an underfunded area. I believe this is Philadelphia to be exact, and it's basically like, you know, kind of making fun of how we all kind of, not everybody, because everybody didn't grow up this, but like, you know, kind of, because I didn't grow up in like under privileged schools or like anything like that, but what we're used to seeing, like how those schools are being portrayed, but like kind of, I don't know, it's like The Office, right? That's the best way I can describe it. It's like The Office, from its comedy style to the way that the show is shot, and this is the, you know, setting for it, you know. And it's a show that was created by Quinta Brunson, which is something I didn't know going into it, but it makes it even that much doper because it's like, yo, like, I know that the right people are telling the stories in a sense, because like you're always gonna have haters, right? You're always gonna have somebody that's like, yo, like, this is not accurate to such and such, such and such. But that's not necessarily always the point, you know, because it's like when it comes to like entertainment and when it comes to, you know, creating a compelling story, it's like you have to kind of embellish or perform, you know, in a sense. And yes, everything might not be super, super duper accurate, but if it was that way, then the show will be boring. You know what I'm saying? Like the show wouldn't be as funny. So, like, yes, you know, the principal is got the job as principal for, you know, seeing the superintendent or whatever she said, you know, in church mess with somebody else. Like, yes, that's a funny thing that happens, but that could happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, blackmail is a thing, and it's like, you know, the school system in general is wild, and I'm just super excited to see this because, for one, the show is hilarious, and that's the main thing. If the show wasn't funny, then it wouldn't be a sitcom. It wouldn't be a good one in a sense. So I feel like we haven't had a really good sitcom in a really long time, and especially for it to be a black one, like, that's super dope. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, even when I say that, like, to have a black one, like, we got, like, it's for us by us. You know what I'm saying? I said that before, like, and I think that's super dope. I'm excited to see more of what they're going to get into, because I feel like the storyline so far that they have, you know, started to bring in, I think that, you know, for a first season, I wouldn't say it's necessarily safe, but I think, you know, with this season, like, it's going to age well. You know, I get that feeling from it. Like, initially, like, the first season of The Office, like, back when it came out versus now, like, so much of that stuff that was in The Office would not even fly today, right? So you could say that, you know, what's going on in the show is kind of safe in the sense of like what they put out so far, but I think that it's good because it still has so much more to grow, you know. And this is an area that we don't really like. We've all went to school. It was all in elementary school, right? So like, we've all experienced this thing, so we understand, you know, some of the nuances that comes with it. Now, we're not all in the same predicament. We all didn't go to the same types of schools, but we can all relate, you know. And it's just fun because it's like, it's different because it's like, you know, it's not such a big cast, and it's kind of like hyper focused on like a few people, but at the same time, it's like, yo, like, they can actually take it there. You know what I'm saying? They can take it somewhere that, you know, is not even in our mind at this point. I'm not saying this is instant classic, but it's looking really good right now. So if y'all haven't checked that joint out, I definitely recommend it. Shout out to the homie B Hall for recommending this joint to me, because I wouldn't have watched it if he if he ain't said nothing. But because I don't know, not to say I wouldn't have watched it, because I don't watch TV, right? So I had to go out and get Hulu for this, because I was just like, before this, I was like, man, I gotta see this now. Like, it's you gotta have a reason, you know what I'm saying, to go out and get something. Just like with Peacock, right? Like, Bel Air is making me think, like, the new Bel Air show is making me think, like, man, maybe I need to go get Peacock now. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's like, it might be on TV, I don't know, for that one specifically, but Abbott Elementary is good. It's really good. So that's all I'm gonna say. Let's get on to the next thing. So the next thing that came out last week was Peacemaker, and Peacemaker is a lot wilder than I initially thought it was going to be, because initially I thought it was just going to be like, I don't want to say really violent, but like just more on the violent side, and that was going to be the main thing that was like, polarizing about the show, like how wild they want to get. But for me, this show right now, it's good, right? It's funny, but it's more so like, okay, like now we're getting to the actual origin story of Peacemaker, and I didn't know anything about Peacemaker right before this, and at this point, this is a story that hasn't really been kind of told, because like Peacemaker is the product of a racist parent, basically, you know what I'm saying, and we're seeing him deal with that in real time, because prior to, I guess, the Suicide Squad movie, he didn't really see things that way. People haven't really brought that to his attention. He's kind of been just doing his own thing, and in this show, now that he's working with a team, now he has other influences. Like, he's kind of coming to grips with what he's done and how he's done it. And they're doing it in an interesting way, but it's still kind of wild to see it. Like, not necessarily him, but the father figure character. And I'm just like, bro, I don't know. I don't know where we're going, but hopefully they, I don't want to say fix it, because maybe it's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing like super crazy, but just that last part of the second episode was like, whoa. I was like, okay, they're taking it there. You know what I'm saying? So I was just, before going into watching it, just know, like, that's part of what was going into it. You know what I'm saying? So, but overall, the show is still funny and it's still good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna still continue to watch it. I'll keep you updated on it, but I guess it is what it is at that point. But the next thing I want to talk about was some Star Wars stuff. So Boba Fett had its third episode drop. I think it was the third one. And a lot of people, like, initially, like when it first came out, a lot of people were kind of like let down by this episode. But if you ask me, like, I think that this could possibly be one of the most important episodes, because not only do we start to see not only do we start to see whose side and like the different sides in this war that's coming between the Pikes and Boba Fett, but we also get to see possibly a reveal later on from Black Chrysanthemum again, because he let him go. You know what I'm saying? It was good, Shamar. But he let Black Chrysanthemum go, which was a wild thing to do, because it's been 2 times in a row that, somebody has tried to assassinate Boba Fett already, right? First time it was the mayor. Second time it was the Fetts. Or not the Fetts, but the Hutts, right? The twins. And basically what the twins told him was like, yo, like, we see what's going on. Like, the Pike Syndicate is a whole other thing. The Pike Syndicate has been doing business in the underground and underworld forever. basically, right? And the Hutt's is like, yo, like Tatooine is not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like this rock is like, you can have it, bro. Like I know Jabba was doing his thing here. We kind of supposed to own it, but you know, you got it. Like you gonna have to deal with the Pikes and what they got going, because it's like it's wild, because the Pikes and Boba Fett have a history, right? So if it wasn't for the Pikes, if it wasn't for Boba Fett meeting the Tuskens, like their worlds would not probably be connected in the way that they are now. So to see not only just like a war coming between, I don't want to say old enemies, but you know, people that weren't necessarily too kind to each other, it has me hyped for what could come in the future. And it's kind of like an honor among thieves type of thing, because it's like, yes, Boba Fett wants to rule with respect, but at the same time, he's like being really naive in the grand scheme of things, you know? So it's kind of weird, bro. I don't know what the best way to explain it other than that. Yo, what's good, y'all? I am pausing this video to let you guys know that we officially have a Patreon. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is a Patreon? Well, let me lay it out for you. Basically, our Patreon is called the Genatoverse. And in the Genatoverse, you have the opportunity to not only get early content, but also get exclusive Patreon only videos where we're discussing your favorite fandoms and also having dope conversations, bringing all of our communities across the whole metaverse, right? Because that's a thing now, and dropping it all in one place. Now there are 4 different tiers that you can join. I don't care which one you choose, just know that your support is greatly appreciated. So tap in with us, Patreon.com/Genato, and let's get back to the video. Next up, okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is Euphoria. So Euphoria had its second episode, and the first episode was wild. Like I told y'all last week, it was wild. But they are just gonna keep on going. Like I thought, like, you know, things couldn't get wilder, but it's weird, because I'm like, bro, like, what am I watching? You know, like in the middle of watching this show, like just because of like how, like, this is supposed to be high school, but it's just like, it's not like, yeah, they in high school, but this is not what I remember, bruh. Like this joint is crazy, all this stuff happening, and it's like an interesting story, but it's like super duper manipulation. It's super duper like crazy, because this show is like, man, it's one of those things where it's like you can't stop watching, because it's like, yo, like it can't get no crazier than this, you know. I think people's like the girls' infatuation with Nate, and like, because this episode is based on Nate for the most part, you know, because he got beat up, he got bodied actually, you know, by that man Fez, because like at this point, like, Nate is the villain, but he's like, and maybe some people's perspective, I don't think, you know, he's a villain of like, what's the word? He's a villain of circumstance, but he's still a villain, because it's like, yo, like this dude is not a good person at all, bruh. Like even if the situation that with his pops never happened, he still ain't no good dude. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yo, like the way he manipulates these characters and these people, and it's just like built into him. It definitely comes from his pops, but it's like, yo, like I could, like, it's just like, yo, I want to go into the show and shake these people, like, yo, wake up, bruh. Like wake up. Like this, like the stuff that he does, like, is on some freaking like serial killer type stuff, bro. Like you take, like, bro, oh my gosh, like this last episode, bro, like he took her to He took Shorty to a construction site, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm like, while I'm watching, I'm like, bro, this is where they put bodies at. This is where you go to take somebody out, bro. And this is like, I'm like, yo, I don't get it. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. And it's just wild because, like, yo, like, yes, he's a master manipulator, right? But you ain't just be going, and it's like, and even one of them said, it was like, yo, like, should I get back with Nate? I think it was, who was her? What's her name? I don't remember her name, but she was like, I think I'm gonna do it. And then the other one was like, yo, like, don't do it, like. But she was like, I can't help it. Like, I don't think I can. Like, I don't think I'm in power. Like, you just take all their power away, like, through that. And I'm just like, bro, this is crazy. I can't believe this is even happening, you know? And then when his pops pull up on Fez at the gas station with the blicky on him, and I was like, bro, ain't no way he about to do this right now, you know? Like, that man Ashtray was in the back ready though. Like, Ashtray stayed ready, but I was like, bro, ain't no way he gonna do this, not only with witnesses, but like maybe it was more so like an intimidation thing, like still manipulative, right? But like everybody in there knew, like, yo, like, what's going on, you know what I'm saying? And I really like the show. And it, like, bro, I was like, bro, I've never seen a show shot the way Euphoria is in this manner. Like, the lighting, and just like, I heard that they use like film cameras to do it, and basically like the film that they was using went out of not just out of stock, but they stopped making it, and then they had to have a deal so like that, you know, they can continue to shoot the way they are. So that's like, when I found that out, I was like, man, that's even wilder. So like, seeing how these shows are actually made versus like just watching them, it's a whole different world, bro. It's a whole different world. And the next thing was some anime. So we got some anime to talk about too. So like bro, I told y'all, bro, like this year has started. So like these episodes about to be jam packed. You know what I'm saying? But Attack on Titan, man. Attack on Titan. This episode was more so. It was more so of a setup episode, I feel like, because yes, things happen, right? Where, you know, not only Aaron Reiner and the Jaw were fighting continuously, and you know, Marley started using the anti-barrier rounds with the Cart Titan, not anti-barrier, but anti-Titan rounds with the Cart Titan, but also like Zeke made it back to Marley. So, I don't know if they was in Marley. I don't think they was in Marley. They weren't in Marley, but they was in they're back in what you call. So I'm just like, bruh. Initially, in Attack on Titan episode, I was like, yo, like, Aaron could really just body everybody right now, but he's choosing not to because he wants to get Armin and the rest of the scouts on his side again, right? I feel like he's putting on a show. And as soon as they get outside, as soon as they start to go help, then he'll turn up again, and like then they'll be able to go on and pursue kind of like the goals, right? But it started to go that way this episode, right? Like Armin was able to convince everybody, like, yo, we need to help Aaron, like he can't go out like this. But now it's like, is this really the right thing to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is the one manipulating at this point? Who can I really trust to carry out the right thing? And I feel like I can't trust nobody in this show. Like, I see where everybody is going, but I also see, like, I can see why they wouldn't go that way. I don't know how to explain it, bro. It's really a wild thing. Like, like Shamar said, like Aaron's doing the right thing low key, right? And it's very low key. But it's just the method and going about it. It's still, it's not the best. Like it's still not great, you know, because like they expressed it in this episode where they was like, Aaron's goal is basically to make it so that no more Titans can be born, right? Like just end the cycle, you know. And Armin brought up the fact that like yes, that's what Aaron wants, but maybe we could convince him that we don't need to necessarily do that per se, but like we can use that to make sure that nobody else messes with us, right? Like if we all just come together, and because they can use the rumbling as a way to like we can really tear this whole world up if we really want to, right? They can always say that and use that as like a trope to be like, don't come mess with us, right? But because at the end of the day, they still live on an island. You know what I'm saying? So if they go back, then they could kind of just like not necessarily go back to regular life, but kind of somewhat have peace, But I feel like what Aaron really wants is freedom, even though he might not get to experience that freedom, but like the freedom of like choice, the freedom to just be able to live without fear of Titans and becoming one, and not knowing if you have that gene or whatever, or be subject to the curse of like the royal family, just depending on if it's gonna be a good king or not, being able to live out a life where you're not constantly like harbored by like, dang, like I wonder what the outside world is like. It's like one of those things. Shamar said, yeah, because he's trying to save them from being wiped out. Yeah. But like that's why I feel like there's no real size in this, because it's really going to depend on Aaron's will and Aaron's just decision, because it's like like he had all the power right now, you know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't necessarily need everybody's help. He doesn't necessarily need to go about and like kind of stay loyal to anybody, because like he has the power of 3 right now, you know what I'm saying? He could do necessarily like what he wants, right? And I'm just like, bro, I don't know what to do. Like I'm really stuck. Like initially, like when the season ended and we was starting to fight, right? The final fight, or what could be considered the final fight. I was like, like okay, like I understand where we at right now. But now that they keep flip flopping and like going back and forth, I'm just like, bro, I don't know what's gonna happen, bro. So it's like it's just super cool to see this whole story play out. Like I said, I haven't seen the manga. I'm only watching the show, so we're gonna have to wait till next week to see how far we get. But the last thing I want to talk about in the weekly recap is Demon Slayer. So I finally caught up to Demon Slayer in the 2nd season, and man, that joint went crazy. That joint went stupid, bruh. Stupid. Because not only can Tanjiro use the I forgot what it's called, but the fire technique that his pops taught him multiple times now, even though it still's like hindering him and like hurting him, but also Nezuko leveled up. And I've been waiting on this, right? Because I know it's something I always knew it was something special with her, because she was different not only than every other demon, but also because like she's related to Tanjiro. And like Muzan chose her for a reason, right? So we're finally get to see her enter like a stage 2 of her powers, because initially all we knew that was she liked to kick people and she could set her own blood on fire. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, what else can she do? I'm just trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know. I don't know if this new like form, because she got the little ivies or whatever growing on it, right? The little vines. I don't know what else like other than like a power boost and a speed boost is this is going to do. Obviously, she can regenerate really fast, and like wait, you said. Oh, okay, okay. See, oh, okay, that makes sense. But like we know that Musin is trying to figure out a way to um figure out a way to be able to walk during the day, right? So I'm assuming that's why they want Nezuko, but we haven't seen her do that. So it's weird, bro. Like that's the only real like cuz I said that in my video too like we haven't gotten to that point yet, but that's kind of where it's kind of leading to. Um and it was cool to see like not only her the demon, I forgot the demon's name, but the main demon that they fight right now realize that you know she has memories from music because that's something that we haven't seen before, but like um she has memories from Musin where Musin is fighting up somebody that looks just like an older version of Tanjiro and has the little earrings or whatever to show that like yo like he's built different or whatever I guess. So I don't know if he actually kills that person or if that person is what made him the way he is. I don't know. I can't call it at this point, but I'm loving Demon Slayer right now. Like that joint goes crazy. And Shamar said he thinks that that person is Tanjiro's father, but it doesn't look like Tanjiro's father. Like it didn't like we've seen what Tanjiro's father looked like, but maybe that's because it was a sick version. I don't know because Musin is old, bruh. Like he's old, so he could be talking about somebody like from a. That could be like, that could be like Tanjiro's grandfather or something like that. And we also learned that Tanjiro didn't always have that scar. Like they said, people with the scar have an affinity for that move or whatever. That's what Rengoku's dad was talking about when he was sent him that letter, basically apologizing for the way he acted. But like he didn't always have that joint. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, can he really do it? I don't know. I don't know. Sun breathing. That's what it's called. Sun breathing. Yeah. So, but he at the same time Tanjiro was doing it. So it's weird, bruh. I don't know. But Demon Slayer is goated, and I'm excited to see what else Nezuko can do now that she done leveled up. Because right now we haven't seen no side effects. Usually when you have a level up, like there's some repercussions or whatever, and she can't like she's hurting herself while she's doing it. But from what we're seeing right now, it's looking like a little different, bro. It's looking a little different. And that's all I'm gonna really say on that. But I love that show. He was okay. Yeah. So like Shamar said that most likely, you know, the person that Musin was seeing was the closest person to actually killing him. So that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But, you know, we'll see what happens in the next episode. But that's pretty much it for the weekly recap. Let's get into the filler arc. So first thing that I want to say in the filler arc is that I started Game of Thrones, you know, and I see why people like was really into the show because this joint go crazy off first episode, bro. First episode. I'm on episode like 3 right now, and this is something that I don't think I'm gonna talk too much about just because it's old, not old, but it's kind of like nobody's really talking about Game of Thrones anymore. That's why I put in the filler arc, but I kind of just want to let y'all know that I'm watching it because I need like. I said I was going to start it in the winter time. And I guess it's technically winter, but, you know, I'm I'm kind of starting in a bad spot because I should have been watching when there was nothing out, but I wasn't. I was still catching up on Demon Slayer and things like that. But we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. I'm liking the show so far, and because like I kind of know what happens in the end, it's kind of interesting to see like because I know who the important characters are, right? I know some of the moments like that happen. So it's kind of cool to see it like, but like know a little bit because it's kind of like re-engineering the show. I don't know. I don't know how a better way to say it, but like I'm watching it happen in real time. But like I know, like I'm noticing like the little things that start to make the character that I know today, in a sense. But I'm seeing where they started. So it's like little things that like initially, if I didn't know anything, I'm noticing. So it's kind of cool in that way, Because at some point, like I didn't have HBO when it was coming out, right? So like initially when it came out, that's all anybody was talking about on the timeline. So I was getting spoiled on stuff, but I'm gonna just like that's gonna be my thing. So like if something happened crazy, then I might talk about it in a filler arc or something like that. But I just want to let y'all know that I'm watching it. And then the next thing is the title of today's episode, right? And that is Originality, right? So over the past week, I had a situation of where somebody thought I was stealing from them, right? And usually this is something that, it's just like roll off my back, right? Like it's just like something I wouldn't even look at. But it was because it was somebody I was like, yo, like, really? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't even thinking, like it was something so wild that I won't get too much into it, but it was something so wild where I was like, bro, like, you not even the original creator of what you getting mad at me for, right? Because in the world of like creativity and stuff like that, like nothing is truly really original. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody gets inspiration from something else, and I was like, bro, yo, like you're being real weird right now. Like I could see if, I was in a situation where like, oh, we was having a conversation about this or that, and you was telling me like, yo, like I'm thinking about doing this with this, and I'm thinking about doing that with that, and I'm like, oh yeah, bro, that's a good idea. You should definitely do that. And then like a couple days later, oh, now I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Now that's weird, right? But when it comes to like stuff that it's like, yo, like it's so common, but it's just like, yo, like this is just my flip on it. You know what I'm saying? Like perfect example with Abbott Elementary and Quinta Brunson, right? Like you initially, like when the show came out, I was looking on Twitter. I was like, oh, yo, like nah, they just copying The Office, da 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 da. Like it was like hate in that way. I'm like, bro, like this is something different though. Like you know what I'm saying? Like yes, like something might have the same structure, but it's different people and it's a different interpretation. You know what I'm saying? Like The Office isn't the first thing that ever came out. Yes, it's one of the best. But just because The Office is a thing doesn't mean that Abbott Elementary can't be its own thing as well, and they both be great. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, bro, like, what we really talking about right now? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's more of a reflection on that person that's getting mad than it is on like the person they're accusing, right? Because yes, in the world of creativity, you know what I'm saying, like people do steal, right? But it's like, yo, like it's a difference between like, yo, like you literally stole this song that I had that I shared with you and took it and did this with it versus like, oh, I heard this at one point, but I ain't do nothing to it. Like, but I flipped it and made it my own thing. Now, whether you feel like they changed it enough or not, that's still up to that person's interpretation. But you can't control that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control how somebody else feel. But it's like, it's still different at the end of the day. And this happens in the music industry all the time. And um but it's just weird because it's like I didn't think necessarily like I would face that this early. I don't know. That's how I'm feeling. But it was just wild because I was like, yo, I never been down that rabbit hole before, like where somebody else has accused me of something, and I was like, dang, that's crazy, bro. That's really wild. So I got to be doing something right at some point. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like the way I was looking at it. Like, yo, like that means I'm on the right track. But it's like, yo, like I was like, really, bruh? Like you gonna talk about originality? You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, dang, that's crazy. But it's all a learning lesson. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna still keep doing my thing. I'm gonna still keep doing what I'm doing, and continue to innovate and create and stuff like that. But you know, it's just wild, bro. It's wild. Seeing people's kind of like, I don't want to say true colors because it's like sometimes you don't know everybody like that, right? Especially over the internet. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. That was just a crazy thing that happened. You know what I'm saying? Over the last week, but we passed that now. You know what I'm saying? But I had to talk about the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this is the point. This is the point. It's kind of like a diary. It's kind of like a conversation, and it's something that like you can not only learn from, but also just like hear different people's perspectives and stuff like that. So I'm interested in seeing what y'all think about this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button, rate the podcast 5 stars on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, and subscribe to the new YouTube channel, Why I'm Geeked, on YouTube. Search that joint up, the Why I'm Geeked show, and that's where the podcast episodes, the visuals are going to be. And if you want to watch and listen and comment and participate live like the homie Shamar did today, you know what I'm saying, definitely come through on the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Donato Sensei. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna head up out of here. Y'all be easy. You know the vibes. Always keep growing, see going. It's me, boy G. I'm gone. Peace.